Hello, my name is Kappi, and welcome to I Raid Alone's Guide to the Blood Prince Council, the first encounter in the Crimson Hall wing of Icecrown Citadel. This council consists of the darkfallen princes, Keleseth, Valanar, and Taldaram. The encounter only has one phase. The 10-minute enrage timer is generous and should not be of any consequence. 3 tanks in this fight is also helpful, but it can be done with 2, as we have done here. At all times, one of the 3 princes has Invocation of Blood. The 2 without have a health power of 1 and cannot be damaged. Only the buffed prince has a proper health score and can take damage. Invocation of Blood always starts on Prince Valanar, who is in the middle, and switches randomly every 30 seconds to another prince. All 3 princes has rather low armor and thus take high melee damage. DPS cooldown should be used on Keleseth since he frequently casts Shadowlands, which makes it impossible for him to dodge. Prince Keleseth. This prince can basically be tanked by any class with a ranged attack. He does not use any melee abilities, he instead spams Shadowlands. For this reason, the Keleseth tank should gain shadow mitigation from dark nuclei, which are the purple bubbles floating around the room, and spawn randomly from anywhere. The Keleseth tank must grab them to gain the stacking shadow resonance buff. The dark nucleus does not follow the normal aggro table. They instead follow the last person that hit it. Melee AoE abilities do not pull dark nuclei off the Keleseth tanks. The only abilities that do are Hammer of Righteousness and Heartstrike. The dark nuclei destroy themselves over time, which makes the tank need to find more to keep the shadow resistance buff up. Note that the damage reduction from dark nuclei is multiplicative, not additive. So even with the 6 nuclei, the tank still takes some damage. More than 6 nuclei is not advisable, since at that point, the tank takes more damage from the nuclei than from the Shadowlands. About 3 nuclei is the amount that the Keleseth tank should aim for. Prince Valanar. Valanar summons kinetic bombs. 2 are up at all times. These bombs float in the air and slowly move to the floor. Upon impact, they explode for about 16,000 damage. Every time that they take damage, they float a little bit upwards. After about a minute, they despawn. To prevent the bombs from exploding, they must be continually damaged. The easiest method to achieve this is to use a Warlock pet or Hunter melee pet. A melee pet set on a bomb just sits below the bomb until it floats low enough, then attacks it until it floats up out of range again. This may fall through when the pet is effectively kicking the bomb up the stairs. The best way to ensure that this does not happen is to position the pet so that the bomb is between the door that the raid enters the room from and the pet. Using a Warlock Imp is not optimal either, as the Imp may use all its mana and then be unable to keep the bomb up. Ranged damage dealers can do this too, but this leads to loss of DPS on the bosses. Players thus want to switch from the bomb to the boss, and back again, but this can lead to errors. Valanar puts shock vortexes on random raid members, which knocks them both back, and all nearby raid members. They go back about 50 yards when this happens. When he gains Invocation of Blood, he casts Empowered Shock Vortex, which creates a shock vortex on top of every player in the room. Melee need to scatter to get away from each other, while the rest of the raid should already be spread out. Players must keep a minimum of 12 yards away from everyone else during this encounter. Prince Taldaram. Prince Taldaram conjures balls of flame which follow a random raid player and explode when they reach their target. When they pass through other players, the damage they do is reduced, down to a minimum of 10,000. When Taldaram has Invocation of Blood, he launches empowered balls of flame, which follow the same mechanism but deal a higher amount of damage. They also damage the players they pass on their way to the target. Players who are not targeted by empowered balls of flame should stick together and stay close to the root of the ball, especially ranged DPS. In this way, you drain the energy of the empowered balls of flame, and that makes it hurt less. Taldaram also casts glittering sparks in a random player's direction, so spreading out mitigates that somewhat. Thank you for watching I Raid Alone's encounter of the Blood Prince Council.